Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a stretch cord bracelet featuring beautiful Czech glass beads from Raven's Journey. Now I have 3 different styles here and I'm going to mix and match them into my design. So I have these beautiful floral pieces here, and I love these because they're top drilled so they go right through the center there. I also have these little birdies here and they're the same way, they're going to go right through that center. And then I thought it would be really nice to bring out some little spacer beads just to give a little extra pop of color, but I'm going to be combining these 3 into my stretch bracelet. Okay, so the other things that you're going to need is I'm going to be using the Opelon stretch cord today. Now you can use some Stretch Magic or whatever you like. I prefer the Opelon. It's a really nice stretchy fiber cord, and it's going to disappear really nicely in there. So it's got some good stretch to it. So I'm going to be using the Opelon here today. I'm going to be using a little GS Hypo cement to secure my knots. And then the other thing I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using a large a big eye needle. And that's just going to really help just string that up really fast. Now, one thing about the big eye needle is that you can absolutely use it if the holes on your beads allow for it. And you're going to notice and you're going to see how that's going to work with these smaller hole beads here. Okay. And then I'm going to use flush cutters, but you can also use a pair of scissors just to trim off your tails when you're done. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to start with my Opelon here. So I'm going to release my little guard there, set that aside. Now, you can go ahead and cut off your desired length. I like to leave it on the spool. It's a little tip so that we can kind of just leave it on the spool there. That way we don't have any waste at the end. Because the other thing that's going to happen here is I'm going to take my big eye needle and open up that eye, slip my Opelon through there, and I only want to slip through maybe about an inch or so, not too much, because what's going to happen with this big eye needle is this part of the Opelon is going to get compromised because it's going to get tugged and tugged and tugged as we add on beads. So you're going to want to at least cut your Opelon here when you're done with your bracelet. So once you're at this point, we're ready to start creating our beautiful bracelet. So I'm going to alternate here. So what I'm going to do is the top goes down, or excuse me, on these little birdie beads, it's top drilled. So I'm going to go down always through the top of the bird, kind of pull that down. You can see that it's already tugging a little, which is fine. And then I'm going to add a little spacer bead. And again, you can see that it kind of stops right there. So just go ahead and pull that down. I'm going to add on one of my little flower beads here. And we're going to pull that down. And another spacer. And I'm just going to do this alternating pattern here. And I'm going to add a bird, a spacer, a flower, a spacer. So this is going to be my little pattern here. You can always create focal, you can create lots of different stacking bracelets. Let's say you wanted to make a design where you had one that was all flowers, one that was all spacers, one that was all birds, and you can kind of stack them up together. That's what I love about working with stretch bracelets. They're just really fun, and it is truly endless possibilities of different styles. Okay, so now you can see my pattern here. I am going to continue for my desired length. I'm probably going to try to get about a 7-inch bracelet here, but you can just see that it's really nice and they sit nice and nestled there. The spacers are perfectly tucked in there, and that nice little purple pop is just fantastic. All right, so I'm going to continue stringing, and then I'm going to show you how to tie it off and secure our stretch bracelet at the very end. Okay, so I think I'm almost done with my pattern here. I'm going to add on one more little spacer bead. And I think that is going to do it. So let me just double check my pattern. Everybody's facing the right way. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove that little needle. You can just set that aside. If it's gotten too tangled in there, you can just kind of clip that off. And now I'm just going to bring my 2 ends together here. And I'm just going to scooch this down. Now, one thing that you want to do is you want to get a nice tight knot, but nothing that's going to be too kinked. Then I'll show you what I mean here. So I have my cord here, and I'm just going to tie a very simple overhand knot, bringing that through and tying it together here at the end. Now, you can see that I have a good knot there, but everything is, you know, nice and stretchy still. You don't want to pull it too tight so that the beads don't move at all. You see that they're a little bit more crunched. We don't want it to be that tight. We want it to be tight, so give it a nice good tug, but nothing too kinky down there at the bottom. And then go ahead and we're going to tie another overhand knot. And you can see that I have a nice long tail, and there's a reason for that. All right, there we go. So now I have a nice little double knot there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string this through, and if you need to, you can go ahead and put your big eye needle back on there just to the very tip, the very end, and we're going to string it through one of the adjacent beads there. And now it's going to be a little tougher to get that through. I'm actually going to use the help of a chain nose pliers that I have nearby. There we go. And pull that through. You can see that it's nice and stuck, but that's what we want. We want this to be secure. So I'm just going to pull that through there. And now I have that little knot sitting right there on the edge. Okay? So what I'm going to do is come in with my GS Hypo cement. And the reason I like using the GS Hypo cement is because it has a pinpoint, little piece here that we can get right in on that knot. So if you can see right there, we're just going to get nice and close. You see a nice little dab of glue there. Really get that knot nice and secure. And I'm going to rest it over there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bird bead and kind of slide it as close up to that knot as I can. And then take that purple bead and slide that in there as well. Now I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try to clip off this end, just like so. And I'm going to try to slide it through that purple bead. I don't know if I'll have enough space there, but let's give it a try. Okay, so slide that through. I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers to help me grip it. There we go. Oh, and it worked. Perfect. So we're going to do the same thing here. So now what's happening is that those two beads are going to be glued together. So you can just see really closely there that those two little beads are glued together. And now we're just going to kind of pull those nice and tight. And then finally, we can come in and clip off our extra threads there on both sides. Now sometimes if the beads allow, you can go all the way back through and do a double sort of round of the Opelon. These beads are a little tighter, so it's not going to work quite that well with these beads, but I thought this would be a really fun way to showcase those beautiful Raven's Journey beads in a nice, pretty form, and I just think they just look so lovely together. You can get all of these supplies and see even more videos by heading over to beadaholique.com, and be sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all the latest from Beadaholique.